With another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the future of phone flipping, how you can avoid burning out. So a lot of people out there have been asking me lately, how have I survived for the past 6.5 years? While, there seems to be a lot of phone flippers out there that, they get started, they might do big numbers for a few months, then competition sets in, and then boom, they're gone. Or there's people out there that have been phone flipping for like a year, and then, they do 15, 20,000 a month, and then they think that they're entitled to start an eBay course and start to try and compete with me and, other big people out there, and then boom, they're gone. One guy out there, good guy and everything, nothing wrong with him, actually had a good course. Robert Charles was somebody that I was actually friends with, and, he started off really strong, did decent numbers. He was more of a teacher rather than a flipper. He kind of focused on teaching rather than actually kind of doing big numbers and competing that way. But he had a great course and everything, very intellectual guy, very smart guy. And then, boom, he sold his group to another member out there, and then, boom, he was just gone. And he's just off, to bigger and better things, basically. And, he's obviously out there doing his own thing, which is great, but he's gone. All of the group that he built up, all of the members that he had, they're just kind of sitting there lost now. And everybody's just like, what the heck happened? Well, what happens is people, phone flipping businesses become less and less profitable due to the fact that everybody's kind of still doing the same stuff, and all the information out there is either on YouTube or, it's being distributed between courses or competitious people that, are selling courses, and there's no new information out there. There's no legitimate information out there, and by legitimate, I mean it's all good, but it's all kind of recycled info. Like, everybody's got it. So if the competition's all doing the same thing, naturally a lot of the business is kind of going to be, it's going to be sprinkled over people rather than it raining on one person and somebody getting a lot of business out of that. So basically what I have done in, my 6.5 years of doing this is I'm always reinventing myself. I'm always doing different stuff. Now, of course, I teach members. I've got a paid online phone flipping course. If you're looking to take your phone flipping course to the next level, it's good stuff. But at the same time, I only give out info that I want people to know, and I gotta do it just because of the fact that I always have to reinvent myself. Of course, eventually I end up giving that info out, but I don't really want to give it out right away. I want to test it, I want to check it out, I want to try it in my market, and then on top of it, I gotta be careful who I share that information with, because of the fact that if the wrong person gets it, well, then they're just gonna share it with everybody out there, and it's like, why, how can you get ahead in business if everybody's doing the same thing? If nobody was unique out there, then there would never be, any other businesses besides one business. Either that or the weaker businesses are all just going to fail. Of course, there is a couple things out there that you can do to get ahead of this, and I'm going to talk about them in this video. But I'm sure a lot of you out there have noticed that the future of phone flipping, it's starting to get more crowded. Like, there's a lot of people out there phone flipping now. There's a lot of competition, especially in these bigger cities. And I know a lot of people in my groups, my free group, my pay group, have all been saying, sometimes there's 2-3 days they don't get any leads. And it's because of the fact that, like I said, the business is getting sprinkled over everybody because everybody out there is doing the same thing. I come out with something new in my course, boom. Somebody leaks it to somebody else's course, then all their members get it. Nobody's got a unique advantage anymore. Now, I am working on some stuff for my paid phone flipping group and my online course. I'm going to be introducing around 30 to 40 brand new videos, brand new stuff. It's not in anybody else's course. Nobody else has got this info. And the cool thing is my online course is now going to have a terms of agreement, which every member will signature and sign. I get a copy sent to my email. Boom. So that way, if somebody wants to try and infiltrate my course, try and steal all the information, it's not going to happen. If you do it, you're getting hit with a lawsuit. Just shout out there to the other course promoters out there, affiliates, and people out there who are my competition. I have the second largest phone flipping group out there, and I intend to make it the biggest phone flipping group, hopefully within the next year. Now, the thing is, why this kind of upsets me and why, like I said, the industry is getting so crowded is because of the fact that people are in their own groups because they believe that that mentor is giving them a unique advantage, and that's really how it should be. But with all this affiliation going on out there and all these new course gurus popping out, everybody's stealing information, everybody's ripping off information, and unfortunately what's happening to the market is nobody has a unique way to advertise anymore. And because of that fact, that is why things are getting so tight. Everybody feels like they're getting squeezed, and it's not a good thing. And it's upsetting a lot of people. A lot of people will sign up for people's courses, Or, you know, they'll get into phone flipping and they'll be like, well, it didn't really work for me. Well, it didn't work because the market's so overpopulated. Now, there's always going to be more phones out there than there are people, and I'm not saying phone flipping is going anywhere, but it's going to get harder and harder for people to start up in areas that are populated. Now, like I said, there are a few things that you can do to kind of prevent that and kind of prevent your business from falling out or just kind of being a burnout, you know, just being done with it. One of the biggest things you can start doing is you can offer highest prices. If you offer the highest prices in your area, there's absolutely no way your sellers are going to go to the other competition in the area. Now, one of the best ways to offer the highest prices is to have a good direct buyer. Now, obviously, there's a lot of companies out there that are kind of known to the public, but the best and quickest way to scale to the top is to go and grab my direct buyers list. I've had a couple people that have purchased this. They're doing really awesome. They're doing big numbers, and they're way ahead of the competition. And the reason being is these buyers on this list are not available to the public, and anybody who gets this information has to sign a non-disclosure with me and sign off on it. That means that nobody else can get this info besides the people who paid for it, and they're not even allowed to discuss it, which is a huge thing. And that's the problem, and it's something I think all of us course gurus should have done a long time ago, is each one of our courses should have been kept more private, or they should have had legal disclosures in it, so that way everybody's info was their own. There's no, you know, replications of it. There's no people out there affiliating. There's no people out there, you know, that are reproducing our content and then trying to produce a cheaper course. It's just not good. It's saturation of the market. And like I said, it's really sad to see new phone flippers out there struggle. And they struggle because of the saturation. So like I said, one of the best things is besides selling on eBay, you can start selling direct. Now, obviously, if you don't buy my list, that's totally fine. There are people out there that'll still help you. Like, I really think having a direct buyer and having eBay sets you apart from the competition. Because many people go into phone flipping and they only sell on eBay. If you only sell on eBay, you're going to lose to the guy that sells to a direct buyer and on eBay. He's got two different avenues to sell to. You've only got one. So that being said, if you get into direct selling and you still keep your eBay account, that is diversifying your business. That's extremely crucial to staying in business, you know, for the next 5-6 years. And not to mention with the RSIMs going up and down, being in and out, etc., very important to be versatile. Okay, something that worked 2 months ago might not work now, and it might not work in the future. So always be versatile, always have multiple things up your sleeve, and never ever tell everybody everything that you know. Okay? Always keep some of the best stuff to yourself. And I know that sounds kind of selfish, but at the same time, if you give everything out to everybody, and I'm not saying you can't always do that, but if you give everything away all at the same time, everybody's going to fade out because everybody's doing the same exact thing. A really good example is about 2 years ago, I came up with the idea to get magnets printed out that say, I pay cash for smartphones, higher prices than Eco ATM. I was the original guy that started that idea, and now, boom, everybody's doing it. And some of the time I get credit for it, some of the time I, don't. And that's cool. But what's kind of hilarious is that the idea is everywhere just because I shared it with a few people and, they're telling everybody, which is fine. But it was something that was originally in my course, and it's something that my members personally in my course were making money off of. And I was so happy. I got a message from one student, his name's Joe, and basically he said, yeah, I used the magnet idea, Luke, and it got me 3 iPhone X's, this is back in the day, 3 iPhone X's at like $400 a piece. And I don't know, he said he doubled his money on each one of them. That's crazy, just one idea. But these kind of unique advantages are what's important, and you really got to have unique ideas to stay in business. And so I'm super excited to announce that, like I said, I'm going to have a full terms of service page and something people agree to for when I get new course members, so there's no more leaking of information or anything like that, because that was always what I was known for, is I was known for being unique. I was known for coming up with ideas that were outside of the box. And, there's also going to be something in there where if you're a student of mine, you can't go and make a course after you've taken my course. If you do, you're going to get sued. And it's not just me on the line. It's not my information. What I'm really trying to protect is all my students. I've got close to 200 paid students. I've got more than 200 paid students because I've actually got multiple groups. And it's like when somebody goes and does that, it not only hurts my brand, but it hurts all of my students, and it upsets them. Like people who pay for content, they shouldn't be getting ripped off like that. And the people out there who are ripping stuff off, it's just a disrespect not only to me, but everybody else in the industry too that's paid for info or made their way through. And it's kind of messed up. But that being said, that's kind of my thoughts on that. That's a little bit of an announcement on the online course side. But going back into how to stay in business, something that's real important here is you really need to brand yourself. So a lot of people are so focused on, should I be doing Craigslist ads? Should I be doing Facebook Marketplace? Should I be doing paid Facebook ads? Well, in reality, what you should be doing is getting yourself a really solid following all around. So you got to be hitting ads on Craigslist, Facebook, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, OfferUp, LetGo, 5 Mile. You got to be doing the local advertising. I'm talking magnets on Eco ATM, magnets on gas pumps. I'm talking regular business cards pinned up at gas stations, grocery stores, super centers, etc. You need to create a presence. And then honestly, if you have the capital to do so, I would recommend getting into repairing in the phone industry, and you should also try and look into getting a brick and mortar business due to the fact that there is a lot of foot traffic that you can acquire from a brick and mortar business. And I don't think many people realize this until they actually get into the brick and mortar business. Once you have a brick and mortar business, I think you'll realize the amount of foot traffic that you actually get. The other advantage that brick and mortar businesses have is the fact that when somebody comes there and does a deal with you, next time they go to sell their phone, they're going to remember exactly where your business location is, and they're just going to show up there. It's not like meeting somebody in a McDonald's parking lot or a Perkins, Heckles, whatever, and you just show up. Obviously, you try and be as professional as possible, get a bill of sale, give them your business card, but 9 out of 10 times, people are not going to necessarily remember you, but they are going to remember the business that they did the deal at. That's why brick and mortar businesses do have an advantage. The advantage we have is we are mobile and we don't have any overhead. But when you have a brick and mortar business, you can give incentives. Like example, when I have people drive to me, I often offer them a $5 or $10 gas gift card. That was another unique idea I had. When people wouldn't drive to you and you didn't want to drive to them, pay them to come to you. Offer them a gift card. It's a tax deduction for you, counts as basically, an expense, and the customer is super happy, and not a lot of other people do that. That was an original idea 2 years ago. Now everybody's doing it. Not sure if everybody's still doing it. I personally still do it because it was my idea, and it's an awesome one, and it totally works. It's really nice to get a customer to drive 30 minutes your way just for 10 bucks because time is money, and you guys' time is worth something. So that's kind of how you gotta, basically look at that. But anyways, if you do kind of everything that I said in this video, you diversify yourself, get into direct selling, get into eBay, and invest in your business. Like I said, don't be afraid to buy a course. Don't be afraid to buy a list. I've spent so much money in the past year investing in myself, buying information, paying my way up, buying marketing courses. I've got a big row of books here across the top of my desk, investments that I've made. If you are afraid to invest your money, you will fade out in the next 4 to 5 years. I can almost 100% guarantee that. If you always try and be the figure it out yourself guy or the do it yourself guy, you're gonna fail. And here's the reason why. You've got to take your money and make it work for you. So if you're really good at getting phones, like let's say you get 80 phones a week, right? And let's say you're selling to a company that pays you 800 bucks, per unit of this certain phone. If you can pay your way to get a better direct buyer or buy a list or buy information for say $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever, and that'll pay itself off in 2 months, and the person you're getting that information from, it took them 5-6 years to get all that information together, just go buy the information. It only makes sense. Do what you're good at, pay other people for what they specialize in. Like I have people out there that I've paid that specialize in Facebook marketing. People out there that specialize in selling courses. I've paid them, I've gotten information from them, etc. And then I've worked on what I know how to do. Obviously, once I paid them and took the courses and this and that and read books, of course, now I've attained those skills and retained the information. But initially, God forbid, I go and try and waste all of my time and try and figure everything out on my own, because if I do that, I'm going to be taken away from my business where I make money. So you guys got to do that in your business, even if it's not phone flipping. I guess this kind of applies to any businesses. Make sure you're doing what makes you the most money, and the tasks that basically would require you to spend countless amount of time trying to figure out yourself, hire those out or pay for that information and implement it into your business as soon as possible and start gaining the benefits of that investment that you made. Start looking for investments that pay themselves off basically the minute you make them. Example, like I said, if you're selling to a company with phones that pays you $800 per unit, you can make an investment and start getting $850 per unit right away, right off the bat. Do it. because that's an instant to payoff investment. The instant you invest, the instant you start getting paid back. And those are really good investments. They don't happen very often. My list is one of those things. You buy it, you start making more money right away. Another one of those type investments would be like a cash flowing rental property. Same thing. You buy it, you start getting cash back as soon as it's rented. Boom, do it. It's kind of a no-brainer. You got to sometimes look at some investments not so emotionally, but more or less look at them business-wise, logically, and then look at them as a math problem. So if it makes sense, if the math makes sense, then just do the investment. There's no question about it, and that's kind of how I think about things. If I've got the money to invest in something and it makes mathematical sense, then boom, I'm going to do it. I'm all in. You don't even have to sell me on it because it's logic. And I think sometimes people out there, especially in the phone flipping industry, they get taken advantage of by customers or, people with sob stories. You got to think about this business with logic. If you go into it emotionally, you just might lose. So that being said, what I really think with all this little video that I did here and just kind of everything that I projected to all of you, I hope this helps some of you. But what I think the future of phone flipping is going to be is I think it's going to become very crowded. I think that it's going to become very populated. I'm not saying that it's going to be a dead industry, but I think it's going to become very hard for people out there who don't innovate, people out there who aren't in a course with a good mentor and coach that constantly innovates stuff, that constantly gives out new information. And I also think that people who are not direct selling, people who don't have the top contacts in the industry, it's going to become very hard. People like that are going to get squeezed, and they're going to get squeezed right out of the bottom of the industry, and the big sharks are going to take over the industry, and that's just how it's going to be. I'm not going to say that people aren't going to pick up phones here and there, but it's just not going to be the same. The way that I'm seeing the bigger cities move, all the people that are popping up, etc., all this overpopulation of information, people ripping each other off, trying to come out with courses, ripping people off with courses. That's the worst thing, by the way, when somebody starts up a phony course and then they rip people off and then they don't even get to sign up with the legitimate coaches out there. So it's kind of sad. So there's a lot of stuff going on out there, and I just kind of wanted to do this video to kind of open everybody's eyes up and get people thinking about stuff that, isn't really talked about. I know most of my videos are kind of, all about business, phone flipping, money, numbers, but this video is just kind of a personal video from me to you, just kind of to tell you, hey, this is kind of what's to expect in the years to come, and just be watching out for it, be innovative, invest your money in smart ways, get ahead of the competition, and, if you're ahead of the competition far enough, they may never catch up, and you'll never have to worry about it. But I just hate to see more people kind of, fizz out and just burn out, fall out of the industry, and they're just gone. It's kind of sad to see. In a way, although not everybody always gets along, this whole network, this whole phone flipping industry is kind of like a big family in a sense. Everybody kind of knows everybody. They've got their own little opinion about everybody, and it is what it is. It's like a big Brady Bunch almost. There's a feud here, there's friends there. It's kind of funny thinking about it like that, but that's really what it is, and it's sad to see people go, whether you love them or hate them. Whether you like somebody or you just respect them because of the fact that they do big numbers and they know what they're talking about, whatever it may be. It's sad to see people go. So I hope this gets everybody thinking out there. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.